21st, 2023. Okay, a lot today. A lot today. Um, Walmart 62 between 8 and 9 in the morning. I go in there. Uh, People are saying don't say a word. It was her ex-husband paying for all the harassment. We've been married, divorced 4 years. He tried to have me killed, and he's playing these lowlights to harass me. Okay? Uh, some little kid said, well, Will said we were supposed to yell weird. She's like, no. She said they made all that up. So they get away with this. You don't say a word. You know what, my mom, if I would have said that in public, she would have slapped me across the face. And I'll tell you what, I would have smacked mine. People have let their kids act horrible. And they said, they found out it was actually Karen's ex-husband paying for the harassment. And they all found out his accounts were in the negative. And the drug cartel came back and killed him for their men being in jail. There's a good chance that where they're saying they killed him, that nobody's heard from him. He's dead. Nobody's to say a word. Okay? And she's in there by the food aisle telling people that they made everything up on me. Okay? Other people, no one's to say a word. Dave was the one paying for the harassment. And we all found out his accounts are in the negative. Okay? I go up to Akron. I go to Acme. Okay? Off of 619. Okay? Or actually, I take that back. That's Bueller's up there. Off of 619. Okay? This Arab Middle Eastern guy walks by and his little kid. He turns around and smiles at me. Karen's here. Okay? It's wanting what's going on. The guy said, the king said, no one's to say a word to her. And he's going to take care of those men for hurting her. They were to make sure she was okay when she was out. And he's mad, and the kid's like, no one's allowed to say anything to her. Dave took off. And he's not here anymore. And no one's allowed to say a word to her again. It's funny. And the other guy's like, and the guy's saying, well, the king had already said that those men were to make sure that nothing happened to her when she was out. And he said if he has to take care of it himself. Da 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 da. See, that's where this whole thing, and I realized it earlier, there was two kings. For we all work for the king from Texas. We are his men. He sent us here. They called me a dumbass. They called me an idiot. Said they work for Dave. He's a fun looking. But other ones, we all work for the king. He said to make sure she's okay when we're out. He even thinks she's beautiful. Okay? He thinks she's amazing. No, you're to make sure nothing happens. And then the other ones would be insult me. But they all work for the king. The women had jobs. The rabbis. It was like there was two. Or he was bipolar. I got to thinking. It was two different people, wasn't it? Because you have to be like schizophrenic. They would yell at each other, the different men. And they're all supposed to be working for the same person because they all work for the king. But they're screaming at each other, even in front of the cops. And places. And then other people talk about the king. One hates me, thinks I'm awful. She's dirty, she's ugly, she's not good enough, she's not smart enough, she's stupid. Okay? Then the other one, he thinks she's amazing. She's lived through all this, where the men are to make sure she's okay when they're out, and he even thinks she's beautiful. It's like, thank you. And he wants to know what she looks like. For the men to keep an eye on. It's like, is a man bipolar? It's because there's two drug lords fighting to be the king over this area. See, that's where some, and it's like they're two, and they both, all the men reverence him as a king. But there's two drug kings here, drug lords. That's what's going on. That's why they're totally different. The men were different. They acted different. They looked different. And they yelled at each other. Because it was two different drug lords. And they're men. And that's where, at my client's house in North Kansas, some guys were at a truck. And they said, what's going on here? She didn't realize it was two drug lords fighting over this area to be king over it. And that is what's going on. They used her as a pawn. That's why nobody was allowed to say a word to her. It's been true drug lords fighting over this area. Who's to be king over this area? And one got arrested. And it's really not funny. That agent said he was helping them out at all for any of that then. And he didn't hire her on the first day, and they were just using her for a pawn. And Dave probably is dead. Because no one's heard from him in that scenario. He probably is dead. And they probably did kill him. See, they were even talking about it in Walmart today, that they killed Dave. Nobody's heard from him in 30 days. See, this has got to the point of stupid. If you're going to make up a scenario of somebody supposed to have died fishing or hunting accident. But this one, he's supposed to be irrational for months. Finally loses it, buys a prostitute online, goes to Japan and picks her up, brings her back. Okay? Marries her, brings her back. A woman he's never met. Starts acting more and more irrational. Then takes off, is supposed to go to Japan, then the Philippines. Without money and without clothing and all his stuff left behind, and told his kids he'll never see him again, and talking crazy, and haven't heard from him since. So he's supposed to be in the Philippine jungles with no clothes, no money, acting irrational at 64 with a prostitute. That's their scenario of him disappearing for life. I told my one client that. She started laughing. She went, oh, come on now. That's a terrible. I said, you think boating accident, hunting accident, something somebody could believe. Not somebody acting irrational, goes over and buys a prostitute from Japan, human traffickers back her after he marries her, after he bought her. She was a mail order bride. And then he acts more irrational and takes off with no money, no clothes, no nothing, and leaves everything behind and never going to see his kids again. Calls them up and says that. And acting crazy. They drugged him and told him to say all that crap. And I would be really surprised if he actually got on an airplane. They probably had him go pick up one of their new prostitutes to work in the drug cartel. Got her home. They had been roofing him. That's why he was acting irrational, saying stuff that didn't make any sense because they were telling him to do it. Okay? And then they had to get a reason to kill him, or they had to get a way to kill him that nobody would know, where they drugged him up, made up an excuse that he's running off to Japan, then to Thailand, leaving money, clothing, everything behind, and never coming back, and never seeing his kids again. And they'd be so mad they would never look for him, and he's probably still in the United States, dead. Think about it. And she can disappear into the United States, and as his wife, and if he signed all that paperwork over to her, she's got the house and the life insurance policy. And they did all this to get the $500,000 from Dave. Okay? where you get the $375 life, the house, his retirement fund, if she signed it over before they took it. But you realize they could, like my brother said, they could even took him into another state, killed him, and then the police would never even contact his children. And with her being his wife, she just get it and then take it to the insurance policies and everything else. I bet if the police check his passport, I bet he never even got on the airplane. Like everybody said, they were screaming in Massillon yesterday that they had heard Henry killed him. I cried and cried and cried. Where people think this is funny. Dave was a kind of man that would be good to you for a year and a half. Spoil like crazy. Loved him with all my heart. First time you made him mad, he beat the hell out of you. Be sorry and be good to you for a year and a half, 2 years. Never even argue with you. And then all of a sudden you get it. And then he'd be sorry. It's like he flipped. And I should have never lived like that. But over 33 years, I loved him with all my heart. All my mind. All my soul. I loved him. He could have done anything but try to kill me and my grandchildren and my children. He could have done anything else. And I could have forgiven him. But murder of anyone, ever, never in this life. There's no damn excuse to take a life of killing anybody. Alright? There's no excuse for raping somebody. And there's no reason to let somebody get harmed like that. You cannot forgive those kind of sins. And human trafficking, and let somebody torture somebody, you cannot forgive those kind of sins. He could have done anything but this. I loved him with all my heart. Where these people, it's just been them making money. Drug lords fighting over this area. This whole thing has been two drug lords fighting over this area. That's where those guys were talking out in North Canton. What she didn't realize is where there's been two kings. It was two drug lords fighting to be king over this area. That's what's going on. And it's not funny that agent said he was helping out in any of this. And he didn't, and they were using her as a pawn to take over this area and for people to help out. And that agent should have hit her. And for him to say he was involved in any of this and helping out, it's not funny. Someone needs to arrest Will. It's on my Facebook. It's on Google. The link to it. The Mexican drug cartel is in the other witness protection programs live streaming. It was him. I reported it years ago. They were doing it. And until they actually got into more, did they actually put on the internet that they are actually in witness protection programs. I reported it years ago. They were already in mine. He sold the login. They announced it in front of the cops and other people in Walmart 62 as well selling the login. Well, they have announced in Walmart 62 that he took a bribe and he was stealing my money, and then he confessed himself a week ago today in front of the cops, and that's where those guys said, even the police have taped him, that he was helping. He set me up. He was in it with Dave, and he took my money. What are the police? And the police have recorded him. What are they going to do about him? And it's not funny that agent would even say he would be part of two different drug lords fighting over this area. And that's what was going on here. And that's why nobody had talked to her. Because it was two drug lords taking over this area. And one ended up in jail. The fentanyl king. And the other one has told his men to make, they see her out there to make sure she's okay. Because he didn't think this was funny. See, that's one thing. The Ohio Mafia, we all know they're there. We all know they're there. Everybody knows they're there. You don't have anything to do with their dirty business. They don't care. They don't care about you. They leave you alone. You're the person that waits on them at tables, pumps their gas, takes care of the elderly, cleans their clothes. You're just a regular person. They're there for if you want a prostitute, drugs, whatever. But you're a regular person. They leave you alone. They don't just rampage through and sell people where this other fentanyl king was having people come up and sell people, do all these heinous crimes, and just plummet this thing. And that's where the two sets of men that said they worked for the king would scream at each other even in front of the place. And it's like, you guys are all supposed to be working for the same guy. And one side liked me and one didn't. It's because it was two different drug lords. And the really bad one went to jail. If you can actually have a good drug lord, the better one won. Like the guy said, it was two drug lords fighting to be king over this area. So where's that funny that FBI agent would help in any of that? Like they said, he should have hit her. Because that was what was going on. It was two drug lords fighting for control over this area. Using her as a pawn to get people to help out. That's what was going on. And the police have already got him taped that he would set her up and he was in it. And him helping out with anything with two drug lords taking over this area. That's not funny. And everything else that he did. And it was just two drug lords taking over this area. Now, see, that's where I told you. Somebody yelled out meth and they were even drugging Dave up and telling him to tell people he didn't want me anymore. And asking people to help out for that reason. They had been controlling Dave for a while for drugs. So that they could actually set the scam up. And now he's dead. There's a good chance he's dead. I loved him with all my heart. But this is why you don't go out and cheat on your wife and find an 18-year-old in a bar and tell them you're worth $500,000 dead. They're messed up in drug cartels. They're going to get a bunch of roofies and they're going to start controlling you. And my one coworker, her family was, extended family was messed up in drug. And yes, you are definitely sleepwalking with no idea what you're doing for 4 to 6 hours with those roofies. It's not funny they do stuff like that. And they do have those. That's where the police have told me they know about it. A criminal attorney, you're sleepwalking. And they control you. Where I love Dave with all my heart. And we were married 33 years. I actually did. I loved him with all my heart. You guys all know that. Even little kids have said, you watch her and they're playing Christmas songs. You can tell she's thinking about him. We all know she loved him greatly. None of this is funny. If he just didn't want me, he should have told me that. See, that Michelle was all messed up in the drug cartel. The Florida girl. The human traffickers. See, they were yelling it out in Maslin. Oh my goodness, we found out that some guy named Henry may have killed Dave. He's in it with him. I'm gonna upload this. Where people think it's funny. He's disappeared for 30 days. With no money, no income. He's brought back a prostitute from Japan. He's supposed to be jet setting into the Philippines and never seeing his family again. There's a good chance he's probably just dead in a field and they're collecting his insurance money. And used him as a pawn to bring over another prostitute to human traffic. Come on now. Gotta break it down to what they're actually doing. They used him to bring over another prostitute in. Because like my son said, You can't just go buy a wife and pay for somebody to marry you. How pathetic is that? And what kind of person sells herself? And they haven't even met you. You never do that. You could get 8. You could be marrying a serial killer. You don't know what you're getting. You can't just, that's nuts. And then my son's like, well, the last part I said. But he said, it's nuts. You don't know what you're getting. I said the thing about the AIDS and the serial killer thing, but I'm saying it to you. But I didn't say it to him because I'm trying to keep it calm from that. But he's like, it's nuts. You don't know what you're getting. You can't. But you got to think you're going to get AIDS or a serial killer. You don't know what you're marrying. Somebody across the world you never met? Come on now. And then he goes over, he meets her, he's acting irrational before he left. He's acting rational, saying he was going to do it. And then he marries her while he's over there, brings back, he acts more irrational. And then he takes off and he tells me he'll never see me again. I can have his clothes, I can have his things, his guns, his reloading equipment. He says as if I'd want his clothes. So Dave's naked somewhere, acting irrationally, with no money, with a prostitute. That's our whole scenario of him disappearing. And he's supposed to be in the Philippines running naked, acting irrationally with a prostitute. Come on! That is the stupidest scenario. And never going to see his family again. Let's just face it. He's probably dead in a group. I want my money, FBI. And like those truck guys said, it's not funny. That is what was going on. It was 2 drug lords fighting over this area, to be king over this area, and him to say he would help out in any of that. And they were using her as a pawn. He should have got her out of here. He should have hit her the first day and not let them use her as a pawn at all. And the one drug lord went to jail. And the other one that told his men to make sure she's okay with him now is the one. That one there, yeah. And that's the only thing that's been going on. The other one was selling our Iowa citizens. I want my money. I need it to take care of me and my family. I'm the only parent and grandparent my kids got. You got without looking off of it. And a serial killer. A lot of them connected, like 800 to 1,000. And impersonating a prince. You owe me that money for working the case. I haven't done it. I haven't had damaged ribcage. I was human trafficked. I was tortured. I like my damn money. I'm gonna upload this. And somebody needs to find it. Dave actually got on that airport. On the airplane at the airport. I bet he didn't make it. Like they said, nobody else told her again. Dave was the one paying for the harassment. We've been divorced 4 years. He's out living this wild lifestyle with all these women and drug dealers. And he's paying them to harass me. And I have nothing to do with him but a victim. It was him. And they all found out his accounts are in the negative. So no more pay to harass Karen. I gotta go.